Hi, Chris. How's it going? Welcome.
Hello, Elizabeth.
Hello, everybody.
Hi. Thanks, Howie. Howie typed in the chat. Feel free to type a greeting into the chat if you'd like to send some good vibes to your neighbors here. Digital realm. Hello from Amber. Hi, Lisa.
Hi, Karen. Welcome.
Thanks, Chris, for the good vibes and the cute kitty. Look at Chris's cats.
Please.
I'm back.
Yay. Hi, Rosa.
Hello. Let's see if that helped.
Perfect. Let me see. Let's see if that helps.
Rosa is our wonderful interpreter, and we are just finalizing some of our tech.
All right, Rosa, I'm gonna invite you into the Spanish audio room.
All right.
All right. Hi, everyone. This is Shey. I know a lot of you all, so good to see you, everyone.
No dominoes today.
Hi.
Music.
Interpreter,
Yes.
can you click on accept?
I don't see the request yet.
It should.
Oh, let's see.
Folks, remember to pick a language, the little globe that shows up at the bottom of your screen. Even if it is English, it's important that you press it. Otherwise, we can't hear you. So go right on ahead and choose your language preferences down on the lower right side.
I don't see that.
¿Cómo?
Las personas que hablan español tienen que escoger el lenguaje que van a hablar.
Let me see. ¿Me escucha, Rosa?
Yo te escucho, pero no tengo la solicitud de entrar.
Ok, yo creo que ya estás ahí.
Ok.
¿Me escuchas ahora, Rosa?
Yo te escucho bastante bien.
Pues, can you click on Spanish?
Okay. I don't see that option. I'm trying. Stop recording.
Hey, we got some new people. Welcome. We are finalizing our interpretation. You should have a little globe near the bottom of your screen that says choose language. Please choose English or Spanish. So even if you're speaking English, please select it so we can hear you when you speak.
I don't see that. I'm trying to, let's see. I do not have the option for the language. I'm looking at it and I can't find my options here.
It says not.
Oh,
Click here.
it should be showing at the bottom. I don't see it. I don't see the language option. Let's see if it's on the top. Nope.
Interpreter.
I'm absolutely feeling the music though.
Just put Tracy on the spot with this one. Napua, I love your colorful outfits and necklaces. Ruth has a lovely rainbow rolled black to aqua Black Lives Matter poster. That's lovely. Hi, Seth. Welcome. Feel free to type a hello in the chat.
Thank you, MJ, for holding it down.
Oh yeah, thank you.
Surprisingly hard to type and play keyboard at the same time.
Turns out.
Greetings, Sebastian.
So fun to be together with neighbors. We're all people who love Providence.
We'll get started here in a little bit. Wow. We got 3 screens worth of folks. So exciting. Hi, Todd.
Hi.
Hi. Hi, Todd.
I am not using the Globe English option at all. I just turned this Chromebook on for the first time, and I just restarted to connect right. And I have no clue. Like, it is the first thing I've ever used on it. So I'm not seeing the option. I'm not sure if you guys should be able to hear us okay, but I don't see the option for the Globe for selecting English. I went through all my options and I don't see it. So
you should be able to see it while you're looking at your dashboard. You see a pause, stop, and a reaction setting. There's a little globe there on the lower right. That's where it should be, at least.
Oh, you know what? I think that the interpretation just turned off. So you're actually all set. We are still having some technical difficulties with the interpretation. So if your globe disappeared, it's not your fault.
okay.
Good, you're good.
All right, thank you.
All right, it just reappeared for me. So maybe for other people, there's a little globe at the bottom.
It just reappeared for me too. So do I got it now? Did you hear me?
We hear you.
Okay, it just appeared.
Wonderful.
I think we got it. I can hear everybody. Can everybody, la gente que está en español, ¿me puede escuchar?
Sí, te podemos escuchar.
Sí,
Excelente, muchas gracias.
It ended again. Bye.
All
Hi,
right.
everyone. So, and Rosa, we're not going to be able to provide Spanish interpretation in this meeting. We're having a technical difficulty that has made this really difficult. So I do want to know the folks that prefer Spanish, if you can type in the chat room the preference so that I can take your names and we'll follow up directly with you. And we'll try our best for this meeting. And we really apologize, but Zoom is really acting up on us today.
Bueno, Shey, ya lo tengo.
No, Rosa, no te tenemos en el cuarto separado. O sea, no está funcionando.
Yo pregunté y me dijeron que sí. ¿Alguien me escucha?
Sí, pero yo soy la que estoy manejando en la backend de acá. Entonces, no te pudimos poner en un cuarto separado. No está funcionando.
Alguien me contestó cuando yo dije si me podían escuchar en el cuarto y alguien dijo que sí.
Sí, es que todo el mundo puede escuchar.
Oh.
What if you don't speak Spanish? I don't speak Spanish.
That's too bad. Qué malo.
And if I don't understand, so what do I do? Leave?
No,
No, on the contrary.
Thank you.
You're good.
A las
Okay.
personas que prefieren español, yo voy a coordinar con Gina una segunda ronda de seguimiento. Así que si me pueden escribir en el chat, por favor, si prefieren que conectemos con ustedes directamente, eso sería súper útil. Y muchísimas gracias y disculpen que la tecnología no nos está funcionando hoy. Thank you. So I just said basically, if someone connected me in Spanish directly, Gina and I are gonna follow up directly with everyone, and apologies because the Zoom technology is not working for us today. So with that, I'll hand it off to Tracy for welcomes.
Hi, folks. Thank you so much for being here and for taking the time to join us in a super important process. We are actually going to go through our just agenda super quickly. We have opened the space up for you guys. I hope you enjoyed my impromptu music. We do our
Great.
We are then going to move into tech interpretation. Shey is going to give us some more information. And then we are going to have our guest speaker, Lindsay Montana, give us some land acknowledgements, and we'll move into some fun introductions of the plan. We might get a surprise speaker with the mayor, and then we'll go into a really fun activity with some little breaks scattered throughout. Again, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate you being part of this process and coming to our virtual kickoff party, the funnest ever. Yay. All right, so I'm actually gonna pass it on. Let's see here. Shey, do you wanna go over some things, or are you in the middle of tech stuff? Otherwise, I'm gonna popcorn to Gina. I don't know. Shey, you ready?
I think, do we have the mayor here? Is the mayor ready? Okay, so we pass it off to Stephanie to introduce, yeah? Thank you,
Sounds
Tracy.
good. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being here today. My name is Stephanie Coronado, and I'm the director of Providence's Department of Art, Culture, and Tourism. We are here at this virtual kickoff to start the cultural planning process, made possible in part by a grant from the National Endowment for the Arts. We are so grateful for their investment in our local arts and cultural infrastructure, and fortunate to live and work in a place that values the arts and humanities. We have many elected officials who recognize that civic life is enhanced by inviting artists and culture bearers to actively participate, innovate, and transform the relationship between government and community. In Providence, Mayor Jorge Elorza has made arts and culture a top priority since taking office. He has helped create new opportunities for meaningful connections and social cohesion across communities that serve to strengthen the city's neighborhoods and fortify individuals. He recognizes the importance of arts and culture in moments of crisis and beyond. And it is my pleasure to introduce to you Mayor Elorza. Mayor.
All right. Well, thank you, Stephanie. And it's great to see so many awesome people joining us for this kickoff. I want to say thank you to everybody for giving your time so generously and for helping us put together this work, and for being steadfast partners with us as we not just roll the plan out, but actually implement it and bring people together through the arts. I also want to give a special shout out to our MCs for today. Thank you, Tracy. Thank you, Shey. Thank you, MJ. Much, much appreciated. And we love all the work that we're doing together, and I really look forward to continue it on into the future. So, as Stephanie mentioned, and let me give a shout out to Stephanie. I'd be remiss if I didn't shout her out too. In the midst of the pandemic, you've been moving all these different projects forward. It's been almost a seamless transition to this new virtual world, but thank you to you and to your team for everything that you guys do. So as we get in, as Stephanie mentioned, that arts and culture have been really important to me and my administration. You all know that when I took office, I brought back the Providence P, the branding of Providence as the creative capital. I think at the heart of it, that's really who we are, and it speaks to what we're made of. So I say proudly, we are the creative capital. And in order to be the creative capital, you actually have to, you have to walk the walk. So what we've been doing over the past several years is continuing to provide more support to the Arts, Culture and Tourism Department, so that then they can provide more support to community groups and organizations to promote the arts in our city. But we've also done a few things that I'm particularly proud of. First is the yearly celebration of PVD Fest. Believe me, it hurts my heart, the fact that we couldn't have it this year, but I'm truly hoping that we'll be able to come back with it bigger and better than ever for next year. But that's part of who we are, and I know a lot of people look forward to it every year, so we're definitely going to work to make that happen again. But we've also expanded many of our programs to reach young people, because part of being the creative capital means that we have to support our young people so that they are the next generation of artists here in our community. And we have a number of programs, but a couple in particular that I want to highlight are the Arts Turnaround Program. We were selected from a group of national cities that applied. We were one of the few who actually received one of these grants. And we're bringing arts opportunities to our middle schools, and we're doing it by embedding art in the curriculum for non-art classes, so that people know that this design thinking or an artistic creative approach to things isn't something you do sort of compartmentalized just in one special class, but it's something that's truly integrated and woven into the very fabric of whatever our kids are learning. The other program that I want to highlight is the PVD Young Makers program. So I don't know if this is TMI, but I dated an artist a long time ago, and I got an inside look into the process of creation. And to be honest with you, I always thought, it was very naive of me, but I always thought that, artists have this sort of, this fit of inspiration that comes together and they splash it on whatever medium they use, and it just happens like that. That's not true. That is not true at all. Creation is a process, it's a craft, it's a science as well. And, I want to make sure that many of our kids throughout the city, they become fluent and dexterous using the different mediums available to them, so that then their creative spirits can use that training to make unbelievable art and to create unbelievable art. So we had a goal that we wanted every kid in the city to have access to a 3D printing machine. We also have laser cutters and other really cool equipment for our kids to access for free, with programming, with classes at each of our libraries throughout the city. So that's a commitment that we made and that we're going to continue. And then last, another policy that we've adopted here in the city that I'm particularly proud of is, it turns out that way back in the 90s, anybody remember the 90s? The 90s weren't that long ago for me. It's just crazy to think that they were ancient history. But way back in the 90s, the city passed an ordinance that required that for every dollar that got spent doing infrastructure, that 1% was put towards public art. And it turns out that this ordinance was never followed. The law was never adhered to. We dug it up, we found it, and absolutely, the moment that I found out that this existed, I said, we're going to be the first ones to actually apply it. And so with all the infrastructure work going on throughout the city right now, I'm really happy to say that 1%, at least 1% of all of that work is going to go to fund public art infrastructure throughout the city. So in the years to come, that's just going to grow and build on itself. So, you got to walk the walk. And as I mentioned, we're committed to doing this, not just over the short term, but we want to make sure that we provide the right platform and foundation for our artists, and also for City Hall into the future, so that this work can continue. I want to tell you that everything that we do in the city starts off with the maxim that people support what they help to create, and it's about engaging the community in genuine, organic ways from the very beginning. So thank you very much for being a part of this process, There's a lot more work that we're going to be doing going forward, but with the amazing, people that we have on this call and so many other incredible creatives that we have throughout our city, I think that the role of arts in our city and going into the future really bodes well. So thank you, thank you, thank you. And I look forward to working with you and seeing what comes out of this process.
Thank you, Mayor. And thank you so much for being such a champion of artists and creatives and cultural bearers in the city, and for your continued support for our department and for the entire sector. We really appreciate you. Next up, we have guest speaker, Lindsay Montana. Lindsay, just gonna hold me up 1 second, folks. Sorry about that. We love tech, right? I love Zoom tech.
Oh, so difficult.
Hi, Lindsay. So Lindsay Montana is a cultural educator, singer, and storyteller. Her passion for education shines through her artwork. She is a Narragansett artist who focuses on being an authentic Indigenous person in the 21st century. She has participated in art shows throughout Southern New England with art that pushes against stereotypes of what it means to be an Indigenous artist. She is currently attending College Unbound, pursuing a degree in organizational leadership and change, and has aspirations to empower her local Indigenous community through her work. Lindsay was also our inaugural artist in residence at City Archives. We are so grateful to have you here, Lindsay, with us this afternoon to provide a land acknowledgement.
Thank you guys so much for having me. Hi, everybody. Before I get started, my phone just shut off because of the heat. So I will be doing my best, but in case it just goes blank, apparently that's the thing that happens. So, Asli Kwasin, the Kaslis Lindsay Ingleset, the Kaslis Wamsupitan, Nahaikansek, Nin Ahaikansek, Tabatash Wachi, Kamachi Nin, You Kisak. So what I said there was, hi, my name is English, my name is Wamsupitan, or Loving Sea in the Narragansett language, and thank you so much for having me to speak here today. I'm going to start us off with a prayer because within my community, leading prayers is just a way to say thanks. And so I think that it's only appropriate for me to start off giving thanks. Katabatash Manatuman, Katabatash Wachi Kakistu in the log. Katabatash Wachi Kakistu Papusalog, Kakistu Kachi in the log. Katabatash Wachi Kakistu Nukasaki. Oh. Is this helpful? Sorry, so is that coming through too long? Katabatash Wachi Kakistu what was somebody saying?
We're losing you. You're breaking up a little bit.
Oh no. Okay. I'm gonna move. Sorry guys. Take me 2 seconds.
This is the way of the world.
Oh God. Well, oh, there we are.
I don't know if this is better. Am I still glitching?
We might have to do it without video, Lindsay, if you're comfortable with it. No, can come clearer.
So sorry. This is what happens when you live in the woods.
We hear you clearly now.
Okay, good. I'm just gonna sit right here and should be good to go.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. So what I just said there was, thank you, Creator. Thank you for making the people, for making the young and the old. And thank you for making Mother Earth. It is us, the people, who can create happiness. And I'm just seeing my brother now is out here with me. So I am now going to take the opportunity to read my land acknowledgement. Today I was asked to give a land acknowledgement.
We lost you again, Lindsay.
All right.
Let me try one last spot. I am so sorry. I didn't want to have to go in the house because I have 9 younger siblings.
We hear you clearly now.
The TV's got to go off. Sorry, guys. Love you.
Oh. Thank you so much, Lindsay.
Sorry, Yach.
Lindsay, you're awesome.
Ladies, I'm so sorry. Can you give me 2 seconds?
You know, while Lindsay is repositioning herself, I want to take this second to introduce the members of the Department of Art, Culture, and Tourism who will be helping to lead this process of cultural planning. And it is going to be an interesting cultural planning process. We know how to do community meetings in real life, but I think we can all share the feeling of being in new waters with this Zoom technologies and just relying on technologies for our communications here. But I'm Stephanie Fortunato. I'm the Director of Art, Culture, Tourism. And Gina Rodriguez-Drix, who you just heard from, she's our Cultural Affairs Manager, and she will be the primary point of contact on the cultural planning process. And she'll be the person who can help you with questions. We also have on the line Lizzie Arujo-Holler, Deputy Director, Micah Salkind, Special Projects Manager, Lael Tucker, Turnaround Arts Providence Director, and Michael Cristofaro, who's our Production Coordinator. And we're supported by Catherine Hippolyte from the Planning Department, also here. So this is everyone who's working behind the scenes. We also have our artist facilitators who you'll meet in a minute, but I see Lindsay has cleared out a space, and so I'm gonna turn it back over to her.
I am ready if you guys can hear me.
Yeah.
Awesome. I'm so sorry about that. As I said, I have 9 younger siblings, so when I went in the house, I then had to clear it out. So I'm gonna just start over again, if that's okay. Asqui Kwasin, Natesuis Lindsay, Ingleset, Natesuis Wamasukatan, Naha Higansek, Katabatash, Wachi, Kamachi Neen, Yukisak Neen, Naha Higansek. So what I said there was, hi, my name is Lindsay in English. My name is Wamasukatan, or Loving Sea, in the Narragansett language. Thank you for having me today. And I'm a member of the Narragansett tribe. So I'm going to start by giving a prayer, because in my culture, it is important that we are constantly giving thanks. And so I think it's only appropriate that I start off by giving thanks. Katabatash namana tumen, katabatash wachi kakistu ninawag, katabatash wachi kakistu papusawag kakachi, kakistu nukasaki, katabatash wachi kakistu ninawag wachi kakistu wuniu. So what I said there loosely was, thank you, Creator. Thank you for making the people, for making the young and the old, and for creating Mother Earth. Thank you for creating the people, for they can create joy. So now I'm going to read my land acknowledgement. Today I was asked to give a land acknowledgement. We meet here today, ladies, sorry guys, okay, you'll be quiet. Today I was asked to give a land acknowledgement. We meet here today on Narragansett land, but as a Narragansett tribal member myself, I find it interesting, this concept of a land acknowledgement. Today, a land acknowledgement has become something important. It is important because at one time, all of Rhode Island was Narragansett land. All of the United States was indigenous land. Often in these moments, we are asked to acknowledge a specific small location. During these times, people ask about the significance or the sacredness of these small and specific plots of land, for example, Providence. My answer to those questions is land is sacred. Land has and is being stripped from Indigenous people. These land acknowledgements are so that we do not forget. The Indigenous people here in the United States faced genocide, a genocide that was so strong, so powerful, that we have to remind ourselves to remember that this land did not always belong to the United States. I find it funny, this concept of land acknowledgement, though, because my people did not believe in land ownership. When we speak about this land that was the home to the Narragansetts, when we speak about this land that was the home to the Indigenous people of this continent, we take it for granted. We can go to sleep without fear of our villages being burned to the ground, that we won't be forcibly stripped from our houses, and that our children will not be taken against our will. Yes, here in Rhode Island, our Indigenous people face that too, not just out west. Here in Rhode Island, Narragansett people were displaced as far as Wisconsin and Bermuda. Roger Williams claimed he bought our land not with money but with love. How could he buy land from people who did not believe land could be bought? I ask us not only to acknowledge, but to remember. We are still here. Against it all, we are surviving. Remember us. We remember. Although we have been forced to assimilate, we remember the ways of our ancestors. We still live here, though often we are not seen. Our children still face oppression at their schools. We face job inequity and systematic racism. Yet we move forward, each day taking another step. My people always talk about making a difference for the next 7 generations. This means that long after we are on this earth, the impact we make is still having an effect. When we keep this mindset, it reminds us that all our actions can make a difference, negative or positive. As we move forward with this meeting today, I want us to keep that idea in mind, making a difference for the next 7 generations. Although this is just a 10-year plan, the repercussions of it will have a ripple effect. How can we be inclusive of all people? How can we be inclusive of the Narragansett people, the original people of this land, who are still here living on this land today, many of them right here in Providence? How can we make a difference for the next 7 generations to come? Remember us. And I was just going to end with a song that I had written that translates to I wish you love, I wish you peace, I wish you happiness, in a way to kind of frame that mindset as we are moving forward. Na tuyan tamgin wamanitong, na tuyan tamgin wamanitong, na tuyan tamgin wamanitong, wamanitong, wamanitong. Na tuyan tamgin nakine, na tuyan tamgin nakine, na tuyan tamgin akine, 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 akine. Na tuyan tamgin wuniu, na tuyan tamgin wuniu, na tuyan tamgin wuniu, 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 wuniu. Katabatash, thank you guys so much.
Thank you so much, Lindsay.
Sorry for the technical difficulties.
Oh, Lindsay, thank you so much. That was just beautiful. It's a good reminder that we are doing this planning work today, but it will have legs in the future, and it's a good reminder to set that out at the beginning here. The Department of Art, Culture, and Tourism, which you may throughout this presentation hear us refer to as ACT, those of you who are not familiar should know that that's the acronym that we use. But our mission is to ensure the continued development of a vibrant and creative city by integrating arts and culture into community life. And we have a couple of core functions, bringing arts and culture to public spaces, bringing the work of the sector to the government. So we play a bridge role there and helping with some city services. And we look for ways to engage artists sort of within city government wherever possible. Over the years, we have developed a model of artist facilitation through our creative placemaking work. And for this cultural planning process, we've engaged a team of artist facilitators to help us with the cultural planning process. You've seen them on the screen here and heard them getting us all excited about cultural planning. But I wanted to take a moment to introduce the three artist facilitators and give them a moment to tell us a little bit about themselves. We have Shey Rivera Rios, MJ Robinson, and Tracy Johnson, and we are so excited to be working with you on this cultural plan. Please let us know who you are.
Hi, everyone. My name's MJ. I use they, them pronouns. I am an illustrator and writer and educator and activist here in Providence. I can't wait to get to know you all a little better through our kickoff today and hopefully in some of our upcoming events where we'll be getting a little more into the nitty-gritty of planning.
Hi, folks. I'm Tracy Johnson. Thank you so much for joining us. It's super exciting to be here. I'm an arts administrator, a musician, and a dabbler generally, and just love the planning process, have a background in historic preservation, and I'm just really looking forward to getting into the mood with you and then transferring all that energy into our studios that will be scheduled for the next couple of weeks. A lot of the folks in the room will be heading those, including us arts facilitators. So thank you so much, and I'm looking forward to getting to know you all a lot better. Cheers. Popcorn to Shey.
Hi, everyone. I'm Shey Rivera Rios, Boricua de pura cepa, born and raised Puerto Rico, also from Providence. For the past 10 years, building community here. I have the pleasure of knowing many of you and working with you all in my past life at AS220. So now it's really exciting for me to join Tracy and MJ and the ACT team with this process, the planning process for what we want to see in the next 10 years out of the cultural sector. So I'm an artist, cultural strategist, and arts administrator as well. And I really vibe in the realm between culture and planning. So what are all the things that we are doing as artists that actually help us create some really beautiful communities and environments and cities together? So really excited to be here with you all. Thank you.
And so with that, we're actually going to pass the mic to Gina and Stephanie to introduce us to what the cultural plan actually is, unless Shey, you have any technical things that you want to go over.
I think we're good now because interpretation didn't work out, but thank you everyone and your patience with the Zoom technology. We've all been thrown into this trying to learn how to interact with each other virtually. So thank you. I think we're all set. Thank you, Tracy.
Thank you all. All right, I am going to share my screen. This is really when we test the Zoom technologies here. All right, is everyone seeing this? Sorry, hold on one second here. Okay. Sorry. So you have joined us here today, and you may be thinking, what is a cultural plan? According to the Americans for the Arts, the National Professional Organization for Artists and Arts Administrators, the cultural planning process assesses the current community culture and creates an implementation plan to achieve a community's vision. Cultural plans act as mirrors for a community. They are ideally a reflection of the community's culture that they serve. Cultural planning is a community-wide process to develop a vision for cultural development. A cultural plan is not something that we can create or do alone. It's something that we are always working on with community all the time. Our first Creative Providence cultural plan was completed in 2009. At the time, we engaged in cultural planning as a way to explore the strengths and weaknesses of Providence's creative community, to assess the cultural resources that were available and those that were missing. And since that time, it has served as a living guide to public policy, private initiatives, and investments. Some of the strategies narrowly focused on the needs of artists and arts organizations and audiences. However, many also considered the role of culture in resolving broader community issues. The 2008-2009 planning process was led by ACT, then under the direction of Lynn McCormick, with support from Craig Driesen and New Commons. Some of you may also know that I was hired to project manage that first cultural plan. The cultural plan brought the creative sector together. It connected nonprofit arts, humanities, and design agencies, individual artists, arts education leaders, and other sectors, and helped everyone find a shared direction. In revisiting this process, we will set a new 10-year vision with strategies responsive to contemporary community concerns.
So we're really thrilled to see all of you here today, and really want to thank all of you that are also joining us from Facebook Live as well. We want everyone to know that today we're really looking for your biggest idea in this planning process. The plan that we will create together over the next few months is not designed as the city's plan, as the municipality's plan. Rather, it belongs to the entire sector. It's for all of us, whether you identify as an artist or not, whether you are a part of an arts organization or not. We are all here to build our cultural experience in Providence together. Because of the previous plan's vision, ACT was able to continue to develop robust and long-lasting partnerships with creatives and with organizations working in other sectors. The cultural plan helps us bridge across disciplines and areas of focus in order to make our impact larger. The document from 2009 presented goals, strategies, and recommendations that not only the municipality, but others across the sector have utilized over the past decade to advance their work. Some organizations will likely implement pieces of our emerging plan within their own strategic plans, and some collaborations may be developed through the networking that happens over the course of this planning process. As you know, the first plan was developed 10 years ago against the financial crisis. So the reality of those challenges and opportunities really were at the center of that plan. Now, here we are in 2020, during a global pandemic, a reckoning of the racial injustice that has plagued this nation since its founding, an emerging financial crisis, and climate change. So as writer and activist Arundhati Roy has said, the pandemic is a portal. So we want you all to know that we are not here to shy away from anything. We are here to really build a future in Providence where equity, racial justice, and a more resilient relationship with our planet is part of what we are about, and when we make and experience art and culture in this city. While we've accomplished many things together over the last 10 years, our goal areas remain. What we will be doing together in the next few months is refreshing the strategies for our current moment and in the decade to come. So you may remember a lot of these goal areas from the previous plan. But we want to note that art and well-being did not formally appear in the previous one, but we brought it to the table this time around because so many artists have been working in this area for quite some time, and because addressing our collective well-being is essential to a creative life. These conversations that we'll be having are not meant to be siloed. We know that we're all interconnected and then our work is interconnected. So if we can imagine our work together as a fractal, it's a never-ending pattern, it's infinitely complex, it's both big and small, and it's everywhere. So each of these goal areas will have its own deep dive in a planning studio. And each planning studio will be led by a sector alchemist. So the sector alchemists are individual artists, organizations, or arts collaboratives that are well trusted in our community because of the magic that they make across Providence. So now we'll take a look at each of these areas.
So creative economic development. This goal will look at creatives through the lens of employers and work. Jobs both in the for-profit and non-for-profit creative industries. 10 years ago internally, this goal was also about our department, elevating its position with the city to encourage creative economic development. Externally, this goal of mobilizing the creative sector has been the recognition that creatives have always driven local prosperity, and that when we think about the strengths of the city of Providence, we think about creatives. So it articulated opportunities to strengthen creative industries, such as design, music, and film, and the geographic locations where creatives tend to concentrate or cluster. We know that some ideas that we outline in our plan will require additional research and advocacy to make them a reality. In fact, the photo that you're looking at is from last year's nighttime economy discussion at the Pell Lecture, an example of a conversation that took 10 years to really get going, and that really requires deeper study to make it a reality. Changing conditions and opportunities will also influence this plan. We're excited to get into it. The creative economy work will be led by the Steel Yard. And so you can look for a planning studio that they'll be putting together this fall. Oops, sorry, I'm having trouble setting these.
All good. So next up is the future of arts teaching and learning. So when we're thinking about that, what we really mean is lifelong learning in the arts. That means addressing the entire arts teaching and learning ecosystem, including in-school K-12 learning, but also after school and out of school arts opportunities for kids, youth, adults, and elders. So Providence's after-school arts organizations are one of the greatest strengths of our creative ecosystem. Many have received national recognition. They represent a network of arts administrators, teaching artists, students, and their families working across the city every day. Some of you may remember the Obama stimulus monies that were distributed in order to ramp up economic activity during the financial crisis of 2008, 2009. Through those dollars, ACT was able to create a summer youth program in our creative organizations. And since then, organizations like ASU 20 and the Steel Yard see youth and workforce development as a cornerstone of their work. Within the past 10 years, community arts partners came together to establish a fine arts policy for PPSD, which leverages the arts and says that they must be an important component of RIDE's turnaround strategy. And of course, ACT works through our turnaround arts program in 3 middle schools. But we know that for youth to have educational opportunities in our city, arts educational opportunities, we need to bring family, students, and school engagement to the table. We also need to remember that our students age out of the many robust programs we have in place here. And we will need to think about ways to address that and make connections to workforce development. And of course, we cannot forget our elders and our adults who are also arts learners. So this really will require an intergenerational approach. And we're proud to say that the Providence Youth Arts Collaborative, or PIAC, will be leading this planning studio.
All right. One of the other cultural planning studios will be about public awareness of the sector. So we heard the mayor speak about the city's brand as the creative capital. And I think that over the past 10 years, we've really seen that this is an authentic description for our city. The 2009 cultural plan allowed us to explore that new brand in real time and to create infrastructure to really support the creatives who live here. We know also over the past 10 years that creatives have helped to make Providence a destination for residents and visitors around the world. And that's been recognized with national media. Of course, massive disruptions now underway within the hospitality and tourism industry create a new set of opportunities and challenges. So the Cultural Planning Studio will focus on cultural tourism products and developments for locals as well as visitors. One of the biggest investments the city has made in our destination development over the past 10 years has been PVV Fest. And this is a way in which we're able to make investments in our creative sector that benefit everyone. So this studio will look at ways that we can promote what's going on. There's so much arts and culture happening in the city every day. In fact, I always have a hard time telling everyone exactly what's going on. It's also about advocacy. about the additional resources that are needed to create a sector that is strong, that is able to withstand these crises as we're seeing in this moment. We have the Providence Cultural Equity Initiative as our sector alchemist for this conversation. Gina? That is Gina.
Gina's lost her internet, so maybe you just want to go on.
Okay, I'll go on. Sorry. So we are also going to be looking at cultural organizations, really taking a look at the nonprofits and their resiliency. Again, this is very similar to what was happening in the financial crisis in 2008, 2009. And right now, unfortunately, we know that many organizations are in crisis, and that affects so many people in our community. We are looking at resiliency through the lens of Emergent Strategy, which is a book by Anne-Marie Brown. If you haven't read it, I recommend that you check it out. And we're thinking a lot about the people who are employed in these nonprofits, the cultural production that happens through the nonprofit sector, and that impact on our community, which expands far beyond the arts. Resilience is about resources, not just money, but also about the humans who make up those organizations. We're thinking a lot about the lessons from Expansion Arts, which aligns arts funders and supports small cultural organizations that may or may not be nonprofits, many of whom have been around for decades. And we'll be thinking about capacity building. This is not just about organizations learning best practices, but it's an interrogation of those best practices, who develops them and who those practices serve. Inequities with regards to funding, staffing, and board makeup are well known, I think, by many of us in the sector, and this is an opportunity for us to come up with strategic approaches to addressing all of that. We are seeing statements from BIPOC artists and arts administrators speaking to the powers within institutions, and this is really something that we as an arts community need to reckon with. And we're seeing across the sector, regardless of budget or organizational size, the need to have conversations about what BIPOC artists in our community really need to feel supported. In this moment, organizations are struggling due to the pandemic, and we will be working closely with the Grantmakers Council of Rhode Island, who will also be working with nonprofit organizations outside of the creative sector to think through the strategies that are needed to support a resilient nonprofit sector in Providence. We'll also be thinking about the creative workforce, thinking about individual artists who live and work in Providence, thinking about the conditions that are needed in order for them to thrive here. This will be about capital. It will be about space, both living and workspaces. It will be about making connections to collections and patrons and finding ways to engage artists in civic life, sort of like we're doing here with the cultural planning process and our artist facilitators. You know, over the past 6 months, we have partnered with RISCA, the Rhode Island Foundation, the Alliance of Artist Communities, and NEFA on the Rhode Island Artist Relief Fund. And we read stories that really just showed the vulnerabilities of individual artists within our community, especially when there is a crisis. And so we'll be looking for ways to make sure that people are able to have the stability they need so that they are here, not just for the next 10 years, but that creatives will always have a presence in Providence. AS220 will lead the planning studio around individual artists. And that's a picture of Isanel Torres, who was one of our ACT public artists who worked at Rogers Rec. The public art master planning process is an example of a deep dive that we did in support of public artists in our community. We will be looking at art in public places. This is about cultural participation, finding ways to enhance every resident's opportunity for arts and cultural experiences and neighborhood-based strategies. This has been the bulk of our creative placemaking work over the past decade. It's about making sure that everyone has access to arts and culture and that you can do that in your own neighborhood. Our own focus on community development and planning has deepened over the past decade, and we are in fact now embedded in the planning department. This trajectory has helped us widen the impact of our work and influence larger citywide efforts through arts-based and place-based strategies. I want to note this is an area in which our cultural plan really helped to stimulate multi-year work around this topic. So the cultural plan was the foundation of a partnership with RICTA and the planning departments for a transit corridor study that helped us do cultural asset mapping along the major transit corridors to help identify the organically building cultural districts and also to install public art along the R line. Those place-based approaches to neighborhood arts and culture led us to the opportunity to work in Trinity Square through the Art Place America and Kresge grants and the Illuminating Trinity project that we did with the Southside Cultural Center and the partners there, and that continues in different ways now still in the neighborhood. Oops, I have a blank side here. Oh, gosh, sorry. Okay. So the work that seeded was the work from the Kresge Foundation, which connects artists to food, health, economic prosperity in the neighborhood, supporting artists at farmers markets and other signature events through the Southside Cultural Center, West Elmwood Housing, and the African Alliance. We know and expect other policy areas to emerge. 10 years ago, as I mentioned, in the past 10 years, we have done public art master planning, but 10 years ago, that wasn't even a conversation that people really wanted to engage in through this process. We are looking forward to working with you to identify all those conversations that we still need to have to strengthen arts and culture in our city. Finally, our last planning studio will look at art and well-being. This goal has emerged over the past 10 years, as you heard Gina speak about. This is an opportunity for us to engage local universities, community members, artists, and practitioners in conversations about climate justice, in conversations about public health, in conversations about what we really need as a community to make sure that everyone feels a sense of well-being. Valerie Tutson of Rhode Island Black Storytellers will be doing a planning study on this topic, and we're excited to work with her. She has done a lot of work in this area. So the Creative Providence plan has really allowed us to aggregate resources that create new opportunities for creatives. PVD Fest is one great example of this, but there are so many other things that have happened over the past 10 years. We see the potential for artists to experiment with new work and collaborations that can really push our community forward. We believe that public funding can be catalytic for artists in their development. And as Lizzie reminds us often, bureaucracy can be leveraged as an equity tool. But this is not just a plan for ACT. This is a community-wide plan. It will allow us to create public, transparent processes for the delivery of arts dollars, but it will also create reasons for us to all be pointing in the same direction, to have a shared vision for the future of the creative sector in Providence. The plan is important for setting that collective vision of where we want to be and what our values will be in 2030. And we're so thrilled to be working with you on this. I'm going to put this ways to participate slide up, which outlines the cultural planning studios. But I'm going to point you all to our blog, artculturetourism.com, which has a page that will show you when all of these studios are happening. They'll be happening in September and October. And we hope that you will find a way to participate in a session that speaks to you, that you will decide to share your thoughts and your voice with us so that this plan really does reflect a wider community. It is our hope to have a cultural plan completed by the end of this calendar year for a winter release. And we will be continuing to find ways to engage our community in these conversations over the next few months. So stay tuned. Here is that website where you can find all of the information. And I am going to turn this back over to the artist facilitators. Thank you so much.
Woo! Stephanie, thank you. Nailed it. Do you want to unshare your screen? There we go.
I would like to do that.
All right, friends and fam. I don't know about you, but I'm mad inspired by that presentation. And I'm going to be at as many of the studios as I can, as I hope you will too. But I think we should take a little break. It is 2:02 right now. Let's, stand up, stretch, grab yourself some water, reapply your lipstick is something I might do. And we'll be back here at 2:07. I'm gonna have some music for you going as requested. It was not requested by anybody, but this is what we're doing. But yeah, why don't you guys feel free to kind of loosen up, chat with each other, stand up, grab your waters, and we'll check back in at 2:07. And if you're wondering when you get to hang out and chill and share your thoughts, don't worry, it's coming right up after this little break, okay? So here's the music for you. Cheers. It's easy music. Feel free to unmute yourselves and chat with your friends. Maybe you see someone you haven't seen in a while. Get up, get your waters. I'm gonna get myself a water here real quick.
Hi.
Stand up a little.
Hey, wait. Ooh, Tracy, my mom happens to go to work. She happens to go to work, and she's very, very inspired to share. And we're Napool Foundation, so she didn't know when the sharing process was. And I was like, Mom, you gotta wait. But she wants to say a little something, but she goes to work at 3. And so she has to prep for work, and she has to change her clothes and do all that because she had to get ready for this. So I don't know what time you're doing that, but it would be really, really, really lovely if you could somehow give her a 2-minute spot so she can say something around it before she goes to work.
Is she available right now? Was there something she wanted to share art-wise, or just kind of her thoughts?
She just went into the bathroom. She just took a breath. I'm sorry.
No problem.
But I'm trying to, she's so eager. She's very eager, and I just wanted to when we come back.
What are you holding?
If it doesn't happen, it's okay.
In your arms? What is that? That looks like a beautiful instrument.
That's what she wanted to explain. It's an ipu. It's a gourd.
Yes.
And with it. And I am not the speaking type. I'm doing this because I know she wants it. I'm sweating now. When we come back, okay? I'm sorry.
That sounds great. Okay, sure. When she comes back, we have about, we have a couple minutes. If she wanted to share about it during the break, that would be lovely. Or if,
okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much.
Of course.
Oh, there she came back.
It's better than my music, whatever's about to be shared right now.
Whatever you were making, she loved it, and then you inspired her to come and do the same thing.
That's awesome.
All right, thank you.
Sure.
Mom.
Actually, we'll have her back at 2:07 to share out after the break, okay? Because we don't want anyone to miss this at all. So I'm gonna turn this back up and grab myself a glass of water, touch my toes.
You're on camera. You're unmuted. That's what. That's why I took a break. But she.
1 more minute of break time, and then we would love to have you share out. We have about
yeah, it's okay.
half a minute. Is that an okay amount of time? I'm sorry.
Thank you. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Follow me. All right, we're back.
If I'm talking, do you want to?
No.
You don't?
No.
I love you. It would be nice if you did. Do a little beat.
Wonderful. Looks like we're having some folks rejoin us here. How are you feeling? Everyone is muted, which is nice, but you know. Hi, folks. Thank you so much for joining us. All right, so I'm going to give you the mic here if you'd like to for about half a minute or so. Is that okay, dear?
Yeah, sounds great.
Thank you. Go right ahead.
Aloha.
Aloha.
Oh, great. We're in Apua o Polynesia, meaning flowers of Polynesia, and we're happy to be here. We have performed in Providence well over 30 years. We've been through 3 mayors, so to say, Cienci, Cicilline, as well as Elorza, the one that we have now. We're thankful that we have been able to perform. We've even represented the state of Rhode Island in song and dance in 1996 in Hawaii. We're excited about the plan that you are putting into effect, and we hope to be a part of it. My daughter, myself, we do authentic dance from the islands, Polynesian islands of Hawaii, Tahiti, as well as other Polynesian islands. Aloha and aloha.
That's just a quick introduction because she has good words.
Thank you so much for introducing yourselves. We're going to invite you to share more in our studios, and we'll go from there, okay, guys? So we can get into the next part of our meeting here. Because I know all of us are artists and fantastic community of makers and creators, and we all want to just share what we have going. All of us are famished, too, from not having a sharing opportunity. So I'm with you. But we're actually going to move into the next part of our meeting, which, randomly, I'm actually heading up. So I'm going to share my screen here for a second. You might think that I don't speak this loud normally, but I kind of do. So let's see here. Can everyone see that? Yeah? All right. So as you guys all know, we have, excuse me, I just want to make sure. Shey, can you see this properly?
Yes.
Wonderful. All right, folks. So us artist facilitators, we came up with this beautiful illustration by MJ. And you might think, okay, cool, just a couple hands and some plates, but we actually put a lot of thought into this graphic. You might have some associations as you're looking at it. Obviously, the 7 sectors are outlined here that you'll be brainstorming about in each of the studios. But the thought around it here is that in order for us to get you to share with us your amazing knowledge, insight, and skill set, that we would inspire you with a food metaphor, because who doesn't eat, right? So as you look at this image, I want you to just for a second think of the cultural plan as a food and dining experience. If you are invited to a dinner party, you'll notice that there'll be multiple parts of it. It's not just the person that invited you or the food. So we're going to use this experience as an analogy for you to access the cultural plan and what we want you to bring to the table, no pun intended, or is it, as part of this process. So essentially, when you go to your friend's dinner party, you're going to eat this delicious meal and you're going to say, holy moly, what is in this? It may have some rice, it may have a delicious sauce, it might have some fried tofu if you're vegan, and you'll say, okay, this pepper here on the side is an ingredient that I've never seen before. And you might ask your host where they can purchase such a pepper. And we want to basically use the actual food, the objects on the table that you are consuming, as our tangible part, the tangible variable in the arts and cultural plan. So what that means is the ingredients in your food that you can go out and purchase, these are the tools that will be outlined in the plan, such as institutional partnerships, people, tools, resources for you as a creative, as someone who is an administrator or an artist in our community. The tools will be outlined in this plan in each of these sectors. But of course, the meal is great. You go home, you buy all the ingredients, you cook it up yourself, and you realize, you know what, I'm missing some sort of thing here. I'm missing a magic ingredient that my friend had that I didn't. And what is that? Well, that is the intangible part of what makes food great. And that is your cultural experience, your background, your family knowledge, your place knowledge, your wisdom that is coming from being who you are and knowing the people that you have around you and being part of your own specific community, neighborhood, culture, race. All of this is important, and it does make the food better. So we call it the special spice, you might call it a sauce, you might call it grandma's secret. When it comes to the arts and culture plan, we're referring to your knowledge of the community. You're the expert, because I might work in your community, but I live in another one, maybe not that far away, but what you know about where you live is deeper and more important than what I could know as someone working in your community. That's the special sauce that we want you to bring and that we will elevate in our studios with you. Then the last part of the eating experience is, of course, the setting itself, right? So your host, you know, they love flowers. They had beautiful utensils and candles, and maybe they had cool statuettes or a really nice plastic covered tablecloth or something along those lines. And this is the setting. This is the experience of eating. You have people around you as well that is curated by your host. It's your community, it's storytelling, you're eating, but you're in an experience with these people. And honestly, you can't have just the ingredients, nor just the special sauce, nor just the setting to make a successful community get together. You need all three. And so in order for us to make this plan a really dreamy, aspirational, powerful plan, we would love for you to share both the tangible, intangible, and the magic that you can bring as we plan each of these sector studios. With that, I am gonna invite you guys all to break out into individual spaces, where we will get to do a little activity. And I'm gonna pass the mic to Shey here because she's actually gonna divide us they're gonna divide us into our working groups. Thank you, Shey.
Yeah,
just make sure
I'm gonna divide the last group. So if you want to share instructions, Tracy, on what the groups will do, that would be great. And then after that, I'll press the button and you're all gonna get an announcement on your screen that will say join a group. Is that okay?
Absolutely, that sounds good. So we're gonna go a little bit deeper into our visualization of the future with you in our breakout groups. It is important that at the end of the breakout groups, we'll get a message on our screens. It's important that it says, it will say leave breakout room or leave main room. Please be sure to press leave breakout room so you don't sign out of our meeting, essentially. All right, and our group activity will be a taste of what it'll be like to be part of our studio process. I'm excited about it. So Shey, whenever you're ready, you can divide us up into our fun little smaller groups. Feel free to post any questions you have about what's going on in the comments in our chat. We will be collecting those. If it has to do with AC&T, they will post answers in the blog. If it's something we can answer right now, that's fine too, but it is likely to end up there. How you doing, Shey? How's it going?
I'm okay, one more minute.
How's everyone else doing? Can I get a little unmute hurrah here? I need some noise. All I hear.
Oh yeah.
Oh, there's some dogs. Wonderful. We've been all by ourselves for so long.
Okay.
Can you guys see Lydia?
Lydia. What is she?
I'm here. Are you seeing me? Okay.
Lydia, I just see your paper mache mask.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine.
Really good one.
Oh my God, I love that.
Very nice.
I'm so glad to be here
Nice.
with all of you.
We're very excited.
Lydia.
Hola, Lydia.
Thank you for joining us.
Hola, mi amor.
All right, so are we ready to go into groups?
I'm ready.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, beautiful. That's fine.
Magic over here.
Oh,
Breakout room.
All right. ¿Qué dice aquí? Lady, room breakout room 6.
That says join your breakout
Ay,
room.
mami, que no me vean.
No, join. Porque ellos te...
Lidia, ponle mute. All right, everyone who's here. I think if you click the breakout room button on your dashboard, you should see an invitation and you should accept that. It should be working. Hello, hello, can you hear me? Rosela, Maridiana, Michael, and Patricia. Everyone, please join your groups. Maridania y Patricia, please join your group. You're in the, you can click the breakout button. For those watching us on Facebook Live, we are gonna we're gonna stay in the breakout groups for about 15 to 20 minutes, 15 minutes, and we'll be back soon. For everyone on Facebook Live who's seeing us, we will return in 10 minutes. That's when we'll return from breakout groups. Thank you. Hi, Robert. What room were you in? Roberta Kaufman, what room were you in? Hello? Hi, Roberta. What group were you in? I can't hear you. You're muted. You're muted.
All right, now I'm not. I was with the designer with
MJ?
MJ, yes.
Okay,
and I got cut off for whatever reason. I just got cut off. Okay, thank you.
No problem. So click now on your the break room icon. It should pop up. Great. Welcome back, Meg and Slitty Wrists.
Hi.
Good with you, Shey.
Hi, so good to see you all.
You too.
Slitty Wrists, I saw you perform at the Prof Fest.
Yeah, that shit was lit. Shit was lit.
Welcome.
I want to do more of that.
You should. It was really good energy. Really needed that at this moment.
Thank you.
Shey, how was your group meeting? Was it cool?
No, I stayed in the main room doing tech.
Oh no! All right, well, you missed some really fun conversations, but I'll catch you up sometime, you know?
Okay. The problem of being tech.
You are killing it.
Everyone
is coming back. Everyone looks so much happier and engaged. Look at you guys, so many beautiful faces.
Everyone's glowing in this hot, humid, thunderstorm threatening day.
It's totally glow, MJ. It's not sweat.
All
Is
right.
everybody back? Let's see. Do we have everyone back?
We're missing a couple of folks. Mira, Alfonso, bueno verte.
Alfonso.
Good to see you.
I went back to my group.
Josh,
I know that feeling.
After Cameron.
Thank you, Sage. Long time.
Sí, saludo. Good to see you, Alfonso. Qué bueno que pudiera estar con nosotros. We can't meet without you.
Remember, we put in American News this meeting, not this meeting, but the events, what happened into the city and everything, okay? That's coming tomorrow on the streets and the paper.
Fantastic. So maybe Alfonso, maybe Catherine and I circle back to you later to see how we can, what we can give you to help promote and everything. So thank you.
Very good.
Hey, what a beautiful community we have ourselves here. So did anyone else feel really pepped now to I just want to keep talking about everything? Well, that's what I'm like, but I really want to talk about it. I want to know exactly what you think and what your ideas are. And I want you to go deep and go out there. You're the artists in this. You're the project people. When you meet us in the studios, I want you to bring your weirdest self for Providence. You know what I mean? Your wildest, most visionary self. That's what I think. So we're gonna do some check-ins with the group leaders. I'm gonna go last.
Yes. So I'll start us off and I'll call on our different group leaders. So what we'll have each group facilitator share. What we can't share everything. So share for about 1 minute, 1 or 2 nuggets from your conversation that started to get people excited. It was the spice in their meal. It was that special sauce was starting to emerge. So I had a wonderful great breakout group, and we talked about a Providence in 2020 where arts are integrated into everyone's life. So it's not just a tack on for people with extra time and money to go to the theater or whatnot, but it's something that is just easy to slide into and out to in our microcosm neighborhoods. And we talked also about Providence in 2030, a real shift in decision makers and for racial equity, where white leadership is instead using our skills and abilities to help promote leadership of color in our neighborhoods, in our organizations, etc. So that's from my group. I'm gonna call on Shey next.
No, I stayed in the main room, guys.
You stayed in the main room. Cool.
Yeah, I think maybe we should ask participants to share, and we got 5 minutes if like 1 or 2 people want to share some of the key things that came up for them.
I see, our time ran a little short. So let's have, if you want to share, please raise your hand. I'm scrolling through people and I'll call on 2 people whose groups we didn't hear from. Be bold. Yes, Slitty.
Yeah, so in my group, we talked a lot about the different aspects of the cultural plan and how it all relates to everything that we're all into. And the things that stood out for me specifically were like things like the creative workforce, art in public spaces, and the future of arts and learning, teaching and learning. And then we did a visualization where we thought about what it was like for us as artists 10 years ago. So when I was like 14, and then what I have now, and then what is going to be like in 10 years from now. And what I visualized was like, I was looking at Providence as if it was the piece of art, you know what I'm saying? Instead of being the creative capital, this is the piece of art. And that can happen by all of these things: the creative workforce, the public awareness, tourism, the art, all these things that we have, these different pieces of the meal, how you had said, all come together and make that melting pot that is the real Providence.
Yes, yes.
Thank you, Flitty.
I got you.
All right, let's get 1 or 2 more bold sharers. What did your group talk about?
Roberta's been trying to raise her hand over there.
All right, Roberta, please.
We gotta unmute, babe.
We spoke about, well, I spoke more about collaboration versus competition, and having the right leaders to promote this collaboration for future ideas, and working together is essential to, I think. So good leaders are required.
Beautiful.
Thank you, Roberta.
Thank you.
We got
anyone else just like, oh my God, I'm going to the studio. I'm gonna like bring all the energy because I am mad passionate about this topic.
Howie just laid,
Yes.
laid it out in the chat room.
Yeah, feel free to add something, one of those beautiful nuggets in the chat. Let's see your special sauce.
Let's make it happen.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to share something too.
Please.
Yeah, in the group we was talking more widely about the topics like connecting groups and individuals, studios, share more those knowledge or resources into every group of every artist. But instead of continuous being spectators and waiting for the international artists bringing from overseas to our city, we need to reinforce the local artists, the local creations, in order to become a real exports of art, export creations, not just spectators into our city. If we want to be a real capital creative city, we got to put the brand, all resources, all the names into the local artists. Because I remember some quote in the internet recently when they say, for example, Madonna was local before she became Madonna. Why we as a Providence artist can be a strong artists, strong studios, a strong collaboration like the lady said before, and we can export those creations instead of waiting for the cities or for the organization being this overseas artists. So that's what we're talking over there. And also I say, we need to create a real stage, online, public, real platform where the artists, local artists feel in your house, feel with the channel to communicate and say, hey, this is what I do, This is what and this is what I want to be in 2010. This is mostly what I understood in our group.
Absolutely, and that's why we need to, you know, the public awareness, tourism, and advocacy one. That studio seems to speak to what you're saying there in terms of what are we putting out there that Providence is, you know? And I think that that'll be a big part of it, because tourism is very often antithetical to people already in a community, unless you show up to make sure that what people are coming to see is you and your art. So this is a big part of what we'll probably be talking about in that one, and awareness of our sector as an economic driver.
Yes, and with that, I'm gonna bounce it back to Gina, who's going to share with us all our next steps. We asked you all to reflect on which of those areas you want to go deeper into, and I encourage you to come to more than one, because they're all gonna be so different and so exciting. So Gina, lead us in what's next?
What's next? All right, thank you so much, everybody. Thank you for your energy. We're gonna build the best creative cultural plan that you've ever seen. It's gonna be like the most badass plan that every city in the world is gonna wanna copy.
Yes.
Got it. So next steps. Our first studio will be on art in public places. It's actually the only planning studio that we have scheduled so far. So that's gonna be on Tuesday, September 15th from 3 to 5 p.m. We'll be setting up a registration page similar to the way that we did this. You'll get the link after you register. That's really to help us both know who's coming in. We want to make sure that we don't get Zoom bombed, and also it's in order for us to set up interpretation. So we want to offer interpretation in all of the mostly spoken languages in Providence. We know we have some hiccups today, but it's really important that you register so that we know what we need to be making accommodations for and providing for. So we'll have registrations up for each of those studios as they are organized. They're still being confirmed. As they're confirmed, you can go to our blogs site, which is in the chat, artculturetourism.com/Creative Providence 2020. It's right there. Thank you, MJ, for throwing it in. It's right there. You can copy it into your browser now. As they are organized, they'll be listed there with the registration links. We'll also be posting things up to social. Yes, thank you. This is nice. Who's sharing? Thanks, MJ.
Nice.
So here's our blog page. Everything is going to kind of be landing here. So you'll see all the schedules as they're developed. Those studios will help us sort of see what's rising to the top in terms of like the emerging ideas for goals and strategies. We'll then compile that at ACT. We're gonna write up the draft of the plan and then release that back for feedback in late winter. So again, a lot of the actual dates are to be determined, but we are in it, we are rolling, we're on the train. So,
yay.
Again, hoping to release this by spring. Hopefully we'll have a vaccine and we'll be set to like actually meet in person and celebrate in person. But if we're not able to do that, we will do whatever we can to make sure that it's fun as we are celebrating the plan. So come kick it in the studio with us. We also are going to launch a focus group opportunity. So if you're interested, keep following us on Facebook and on the blog. We'll send notes out as those things are developed, but they will have some sort of kitchen table focus groups that we'll be setting up. So you can bring your family, whoever's in your pod, your quarantine pod, or have like a Zoom drinks over over one night and answer some questions related to the cultural plan, send them into us, and we'll be utilizing all of that data in the cultural plan as we write. So yeah, thank you so much. We are so thrilled that you were here with us today and really appreciate all of your time and energy and expertise and love that you're bringing to making Providence the best city in the world. So appreciate it.
Yay, thank you all. We will say goodbye for now, and it's not a goodbye, it's a see you later. I'll put the share screen on the sectors so you can make your notes of which ones you are definitely coming to. We can't wait to see you again. Goodbye.
Hey, you want to lead us into a unmuted huzzah?
Bye. Thank you.
Yeah. If
Bye.
MJ,
Bye.
thank you.
You are facilitating.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Que no me
Yes.
now. Bye.
Thanks for coming.
Adiós,
God.
amigos. Hasta la próxima.
Bye, amor.
Bye.
That was amazing.
That's wonderful.
You guys are all great.
Thank you.
Thank you so
Bye.
much. We'll see you next time. See you soon.
Gracias.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Buenas tardes.
Buenas. And the rest of us, we just want to stay. I love it.
I'm leaving. I'm hungry.
I hear you.
Yeah, I think if our core group wants to stay 5 minutes, we just kind of like gather energy.
Here for it. Bye. Thank you for sharing. Thank you, Slitty, for your input. Really great stuff. Appreciate it.
Totally.
He's staying on. He's staying on. They are staying on, excuse me.
Yeah, there was a person, Maridania, that never spoke into the screen. But we're all alone now. Our meeting ended. Thank you so much to all the Facebook Live people. We'll keep
Yeah.
I think, Shey, you get a MVP award.
Oh my God. So rude.